Now, she's been a tough prosecutor. Oh my God, she's such a genius. She's an idiot. She's worked her way up the ladder and has absolutely accomplished nothing profound. So now she's caught on plagiarism. Now, to CNN's credit, they actually write about it, but of course they trash Christopher Rufo. Only a right-winger would do this sort of thing. Obviously, she's the first woman, minority, you know, that kind of crap. But they did, in fact, report on it. New York Times did something similar. So they went to the Harris campaign and they said, this is Christopher Rufo. We reject it all. Excuse me? What do you reject? This page? Do you reject this page? I got 15 pages here. Verbatim, stealing language and so forth. We deny it. We never did that. And so it goes away. Now, there was a report that came out. Christopher Rufo, our friend, he works at the Manhattan Institute and writes for the City Journal, and you know him from his appearances on Fox and my interviews with him. And so he takes Kamala Harris's first book that she supposedly co-wrote with another. And he's gone through it over the course of several months. And he found significant plagiarism. Now let's be clear about what plagiarism is. Plagiarism means you're literally stealing the thoughts, the writings, the intellectual labor of somebody else. It's like somebody stealing or shoplifting from a store, but doing it in her case over and over and over again. Now, it's even worse in her case for several reasons, but she's a trained lawyer. And I can tell you, when you go to law school, they over and over again, they tell you the importance of getting your citations and getting them accurate. When you write briefs for a judge, when you write a law review article, when you write anything, it's crucially important that you not only cite the source, but you cite it accurately. And we even have this notion of a better source. If there's a better source out there, then don't be lazy. Don't use the secondary and tertiary sources. Use the original source, and you can reference the secondary and tertiary source. So the goal is to make sure not only what you're writing is accurate, but also that you're not stealing information from a place or from a person, that you're giving them the credit that they deserve. And it also makes possible for the audience you're writing for or to, whether it's a judge or whatever it is, to go to your source, and to check it out. I'll give you an example. Here is on freedom of the press. I'm just grabbing this now. Now, I've written 10 books. One of them has no footnotes or endnotes. It's called Rescuing Sprite. It was a story about my family and our experience. There was no need for endnotes because it was all written about the life that we lived. But on freedom of the press, when you go to Unfreedom of the Press, in the back of all my books, I have a section called Notes. And you have in this book, and this isn't even the most extensive book, if you really want to look, go to Meritopia and American Marxism. But just as an example, we have here from page 231 to page 258, endnotes, hundreds of them. And when you look at the font is reduced. It's small. It's very small font because you don't want a whole book that has, a bunch of endnotes like this. So here are the endnotes, and here's the rest of the book that I wrote in exquisite detail. Now, in addition to that, as a lawyer, authors are supposed to understand. You don't cheat. You don't steal from other people. And publishers are supposed to double check the endnotes. I insist when I write a book that one of my lawyer friends go through my endnotes. I don't know that I've ever told anybody this, it's not a great secret, to make sure that I've provided them accurately. So I want a second pair of eyes. And then when he's done, I insist that the editor, who doesn't get to edit a lot with my books because I don't let them, but anyway, the editor for the publisher, they go through the notes to make sure they're accurate. I got one complaint once, said, there's too many endnotes. Too many endnotes. I said, what are you, schmuck? What are you, idiot? There can never be too many endnotes. When you write a nonfiction book that's filled with evidence, filled with sources, historical information, and so forth, you need to have a lot of endnotes. I haven't counted the endnotes, but when you look at any of my books, you'll see the same thing. Same thing. Now, she's been a tough prosecutor. Oh my God, she's such a genius. She's an idiot. She's worked her way up the ladder and has absolutely accomplished nothing profound. So now she's caught on plagiarism. Now, to CNN's credit, they actually write about it, but of course they trash Christopher Rufo. You know, only a right-winger would do this sort of thing. Obviously, she's the first woman, minority, you know, that kind of crap. But they did, in fact, report on it. New York Times did something similar. They went to the Harris campaign, because, you know, Harris is a campaign. She's not actually a human being that speaks for herself. So they went to the Harris campaign and they said, this is Christopher Rufo. We reject it all. Excuse me? What do you reject? This page? Do you reject, bear with me, this page? This is side by side. Do you reject this page? This page? I got 15 pages here, verbatim, stealing language and so forth. We deny it. We never did that. And so it goes away. It just goes away. Now, what's interesting about this, in the 1987-88 campaign, as you well know, of perennial presidential candidate back then, Joe Biden, he got caught plagiarizing. He got caught plagiarizing by one of the candidates he was running against who had leaked it to the media. And in the Democrat primary, and you've seen the clips, I've played them, others have played them, they're on the internet, enjoy them, go look. Where he steals the language from Neil Kinnock, the head of the Labour Party in Britain, almost word for word, but close enough. Then he steals the language from Senator Robert Kennedy, when he'd been running for president, I guess 30 years earlier, steals the language from RFK, and he gets caught. And it's such a humiliation, although he's not humiliated. So, well, you know, people make mistakes. You know, they repeat what other people say. So he steals their language, steals it. And he has to drop out of the race.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.